Hello guys, welcome back to another video with ARC Exotics today. Today we're just going to go through the full Pac-Man frog setup, how we set it up, what we've put in there, what brands we've used and the overall finish of how it looks. You'd have seen me unboxing it in the previous video of the Swell Reptile unboxing. So now we're just going to do a little walkthrough and a voiceover of setting up the tank and just seeing how he likes it. So let's go. So guys, this is what we're going to be doing today, setting up the Pac-Man frog tank. As we know in the previous unboxing, we have the Arcadia Earth Mix, the forest one, not the arid one. Obviously because he's a Pac-Man frog and that is a much better substrate than the arid one. Just for those wondering, because a few of you were confused. There is two types. And then like I say, we'll just unpop the mesh here and add a little bit in. We want to do about that much thickness because we want enough for him to be able to burrow. So we want a decent amount. We don't want too thin how it was in the tub. So we want a good thickness, so then when we do spray it and it gets nice and humid, if he wants to burrow he can, and if he don't then it's his choice. But at least that way he's got an option. So then we can just pour a little bit in, make sure it's right, but remember you might need a little bit more for stuff like plants as well. Plastic or real, you still need to bed them down a bit, so take that into account, because I didn't and I had to add a little bit more. But make sure again you push it under the background because they have little pockets of where the wires run. Push it all to the front, as you can see here, to make sure that it is the right thickness, because again that is important for Pac-Man frogs. You don't want them to be too shallow. They like to feel safe, but sometimes they don't want to, but it's nice to give them the option. Say I'm adding a little bit more because I just want to make room if I want to add a plant in there, little things like that, because you don't take that into account. So now we're going to be getting on towards the heat mat and how we're going to stick that to the tank and what way it is best stuck. So this is a little 4x5 which can either be stuck on the side, let me just show you if I move it around, it can be stuck on the side here, or it can be placed onto the back to give it a little bit of a cooler feel so the background don't get in the way, or it can be placed underneath the tank. So now we're just going to show you a little bit more of an in-depth view inside the tank with the top off and with the door open. Basically just what we've done and how the final product looks without any of the leaf litter or the water bowl, just the substrate in the plant. So now we're going to go to adding the leaf litter. I think I put a bit too much in, but I took some out to make up for it. But you just want a little bit, so when you spray it over time, they're quite hard at the minute, but with the humidity they should soften up quite nice and sort of make a nice layer, like a nice bed on the bottom of the tank for your frog to go into and hide. And then once you've done that, just make sure you sort of, like I say earlier, just even them out a little bit, neaten it up, although it's not going to stay this way. It's that's what you do with a new tank. Everyone makes it look fairly presentable and fairly neat. Just push the leaves about. So it's quite a hard tank to film whilst I was setting up because I've never had a tank so small. Obviously this is only going to be his permanent home until he grows out a little bit, and then we're going to probably be going for a 30 by 30 by 30 maybe, but at the minute that's plenty. So now this is basically everything we need in here without the water bowl. But as you can see here, I took a few leaves out because there was a bit too many in there. I didn't want it to be too crowded. Now I've got the water bowl in as well. You want to make sure it's nice and shallow. So guys, this is the final finished product of the full setup of the tank. We went with the heat mat going on the back of the Exoterra. We've not yet decided whether to stick it down on there yet. We just want to monitor the temperature and see how it goes. If not, we'll stick it on the side here, or if not, we'll stick it underneath. But at the minute, the temperature seems to be okay. We've got an Exoterra digital thermometer reading the temp 24/7, so we always know what it will be at. We've also got a little custom LED light, just so it will light up the unit and the tank itself, which was stuck on, which does the job nicely. And then inside the tank, we have a hydrometer. It's not a digital one, but it will do for now. It's not massively important. We roughly know the humidity anyway. He's got the heat in there. We spray him regularly, so the humidity should be up to scratch. And this is the finished product of the tank. If you look closely, you might be able to spot him. And then you've got the single swing arm door, and this is it. Nothing too fancy, just some leaf litter, one of the green ferns, the little probe there, water dish, and he is just at the back behind the plant, just there. He did eat this morning as well. He don't tend to like him as much with calcium on, so that's going to be annoying, but we have got a UVB we can give him, so that's not too much of a problem. But overall, if you come back a little bit, it fits quite nice into the setup. And then we're going to put our 2 stickers frames here and here, so this shot for filming should be quite nice. So guys, before we end the video, as you saw in the unboxing before this, we got a few stuff for the Isopods. So now we're just going to put a little bit of that in. Moss again helps with the humidity, and a lot of the Isopods tend to eat it as well. I'm currently housing my locusts in here, but Isopods and locusts are fine, it's not a problem. You just want to make sure that there's enough food in there so they don't end up eating the Isopods. But like I say, just a little bit of the sphagnum moss, and if they don't jump out, and just a little bit of the leaf litter as well, because they like quite sort of dry places with humidity as well, so quite good. Obviously the custodial fuel is what we ran out of, is why I was getting a little bit worried, and is why there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jelly pots in there, because we were feeding Pangea and Rapashi for them. We've got 2 locusts which look like they want to escape. Also guys, we've come up with this little system here, just a reptile weight chart. Basically, because of Rio, when we had to get our leopard gecko put down, he was losing weight, and we originally, when all of this started, didn't know the weight he was. So what we're doing now is, in each room, we're having a chart of what reptiles are in each room and monitoring their weight, like you probably should do anyway, but this is the first time I've done it, and hopefully if there is any problems down the line with any of these 3, then it will prove to basically help us out in the future. Obviously the day geckos will soon be in this room as well, but we can't add them to the list because we can't weigh them. They're too quick, they're too small, they're too fragile, so we better just hope nothing happens to them. But other than that, these 3 can be weighed regularly, so that's what we're going to try and do. It's just a basic chart of basically each individual with the month going down and doing their weight. I've done Gus the tortoise and Rolo the crested gecko, so now I've just got to get Fredo the Pac-Man frog, and it should all be good. So guys, that is today's video done. Just a little walkthrough of how we set up the tank and what products we used and how he settled in. He's settled in really good so far. He's been in there about 24 hours now. Little Isopod update as well, because we've got some more food for them. I'm currently housing the crickets in the Isopod setup, but it's no problem, there won't be no hassle. So other than that, stay tuned for the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.